what's up everyone? This is a very interesting topic that we have for today, and I guess those who will be able to relate to this are those immigrants that have a family of their own. So more specifically, kids. So today I will be talking about childcare in Canada, and I will add in a couple of information about Canada Child Benefit. So this is the allowance from the government that children here in Canada get. So first, I would like to share my experience with childcare. Now, a lot of people who come here to Canada, one great struggle would be to find a childcare for their children. Now, I had that same struggle because it's very, I don't know how to say this, but it is expensive. Maybe just because I could compare that to childcare costs back home in the Philippines. So the second one is because it's hard to get childcare here. That is based on my experience. So the first one, why is it hard anyway? Before I went here to Canada, when I was accepted to Bow Valley College and I was already preparing for my study permit application, I was already trying to get information about childcare. So of course, because I was planning to take my family here, and I had in my mind, what if we're not able to come here as a family? Yeah, so for example, if both both me and my husband are working, where are my kids gonna go? So those are just some of the thoughts that I had in my mind, because I will be working definitely, and I will also attend classes. So I'm a full-time student, I have two jobs. So that was my initial thoughts back then. So I already looked into childcare when I was still outside of Canada. And I did send a couple of messages to a couple of daycares here in Canada. And they were already full. So those in my area were already full. And even when I got here, I roamed around southeast, downtown, southwest, and most of them actually are already filled up, and you would have to put your child into wait list. And so I did. It's actually been a couple of months before someone was able to get back to me and mention that they have a slot for my child. But of course, then again, that time I already was able to find one. So yes, that was my experience. When I was outside of Canada, the replies were really, we can put your child into wait list, and we will contact you if a slot is available for your children. So they have the daycare program is more like a school. So it's within an age range. For example, grade 1, grade 2, grade 3. So in the daycare, my experience was toddlers, preschoolers, and then the older kids. Yes, so it's different as well. Costing is different. The younger the child, I believe, the more expensive it is. And so there, when I was able to get here, because I had relatives here, and my auntie has her kids in a daycare. So I think that was also an advantage for me. It proved to be an advantage because the daycare was able to. I only had one child when I first got here, so they were able to fill her into the program, just because they try to prioritize relatives. So we got that slot, and also since I only booked her in for part-time, so 2 days a week. Just those were my classes, because when I came here I did not have work for the first few weeks, so that worked well for me. The costing here is different. So you have three options. You can put your children into daycare, Dayhome, licensed Dayhome, and we have Dayhomes that are unlicensed as well. So for daycare, these are really the places, the institutionalized places where you have to drop them off there and then pick them up. So daycare, in my experience, there are two costs. It's also based on the age range of your kids. So my kid back then was 3 years old, and the cost that I paid for her for a part-time, so that's twice a week, just weekdays. I don't think they have weekends. So Mondays or Fridays, that's their schedule. For full-time, Mondays to Fridays, I believe that's around from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. But for my child, she was only part-time, so I only had Mondays and Wednesdays of classes. Her costing was 685, 695. So 700. So that's for Mondays and Wednesdays. I can bring her in 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. but I only have classes from, I think, 10 to 3. I drop her off at around 8, then I pick her up around 4 or 5, depending on if I have other stuff to do. But yeah, that's it basically. So it was hard, really, because my child has to wake up very early in the morning for us to, prepare breakfast, eat breakfast, and I have to take her there. And I did not have any car back then, so we had to take commute. And in our place during that time, there were no near bus stations, so we had to walk like 20 minutes in the snow, the winter storm, before we got to a bus stop. So it was hard during that time. But yes, costing for part-time was about 700. And for full-time, it can cost anywhere from 1,200 to 1,400, depending on the age range of the child. That's for full-time, Mondays to Fridays. And they also have drop-in rates. So if I remember, like a drop-in rate would be like anywhere from $60 to $80 per day. Yeah, so that's the whole 6 to 6. I'm not sure anymore. But yeah, so that was my experience. So my advice for people planning to come here that has kids, please try to register them as early as you can. Even when you're outside of Canada, you can just let them know that you plan to come to Canada at this time, if they can put your child on the wait list. So, and that's per child, okay? So that amount is per child. Now, I've looked into another option. I had the option to look into a day home. So this day home is a licensed child care provider that that looks out after children in their home area, in their house. So this one is a little cheaper than the daycare, and fortunately I was able to find a Filipino day home provider. So I paid $800 full time. Yes, Mondays to Fridays, but that was only for a few hours per day because I really did not, leave at 6 and then come back at 6. So it was just a few hours per day, but I think it's the same rate. So I paid $800 per month for one child. And then when my kids got here, my second and third kids, it was really hard for me. It was really hard for me already because of the expenses. If you could just imagine 800 times 3, and that's already the cheaper option, right? So I had to look into another cheaper option. Thankfully, I have very good resources here, very good friends who was able to connect me to people who are able to help me. I found a Filipino day home provider as well. She's unlicensed. So license and unlicensed, there's just a thin distinction between those, but definitely she is able to offer childcare. So she gave us a very good rate. So I think I was paying about 500, something like that. But her rates are actually very flexible, but I think it's 500 for full-time and then 400 for part-time per child. So that's really huge savings. And that's really huge savings. And she was also able to help me in bringing kids to school and fetching them to come back home, just because her children also goes to the same school. So when she drops off and picks up her children, then my child also comes with her. So which was really a life-saving help for us. So those are just some of the options that you can look into for childcare. But you can roam around, ask around a lot of childcare providers here, and try to network, try to connect with people that they might be able to refer you. So yeah, that's the cost. And then I would like to give you information about the childcare benefit. So the childcare benefit is the allowance given to qualified children here in Canada. This is from the government, And this is usually given to Canadian citizens or permanent residents, but temporary foreign workers, even the students, um, temporary foreign workers, even the students can be entitled to this. So the main rule is after 18 months. So this is 1 year and 6 months upon arrival of the parent. So again, this is arrival of the parent, not the arrival of the child. So I'll give you an example. For me, I came here January of 2019 with my youngest child. We were qualified. I applied for the child care benefit after my 18th month. So once I was able to finish the 18th month, I applied for it. They processed it, and a month after, we were already qualified. So we've started receiving the benefits. We started receiving the benefits on a monthly basis. But yes, that is already for the 3 children that I have here. Doesn't matter if they've just arrived here, if they haven't completed 18 months. It is dependent on the arrival of the mother. So I came here January of 2019, and even just one parent will be fine. Doesn't need that both parents have finished the 18-month period. So I came here January 2019, and I finished it June. I finished my 18th month June. I applied July 2. Yeah, it was really specific to that. So July 2, I applied for it, and then August of yeah, I think August we were already qualified, but since the processing for that period has already been, completed, we were not able to get the allowance, but they did roll it over to the next month. So the next month we were able to get 2 payments, something like that. Yes. And to give you an idea, the allowance is based on the income of the family. So since we are considered low income for the past year, since my husband wasn't here and I was just the only one here, and I was only working part-time, not even for the full year, so we were classified as low income family. So we were getting, for my 3 kids, I'm getting 1,500 Canadian dollars total. 1,500 in total for my 3 kids. That's on a monthly basis. And then there is an additional of the Alberta Child Care Benefit. I think it's already called the Alberta Family and Child Benefit. We are getting almost 700 every quarter. So that one is paid out every quarter. If you are eligible for the CCB, the CCB is the government program, and then we have a provincial program, which is the Alberta Family and Child Benefit. So that one is paid out quarterly. We also qualified under the low income cutoff score, so we're getting the amount entitled for that. There. So it's really a huge help. House, expenses here are very high, so that really did help. So the application process was fairly easy. You can do online application. So just log into, I think it's a CRA website. Yeah, yes, it's a CRA website. So there's an online application. So I just submitted a couple of forms, answered a couple of questions, and then they process it really fast. You just have to provide documents. I think I provided documents like our study permit, work permit, and proof of relationship, proof of residency, and that's it. There was just a bit of a delay because I answered some of the documents wrong, like the amounts, because they have to, when you're qualified, they have to look into how much you're qualified for. So it's not the same for everybody. The more you make here in Canada, the lesser, of course, you get these government programs, because it's designed to help out more of the lower income families, which totally would make sense, right? So yes, I did a couple of amounts wrong because they looked into the last 2 to 3 years of your income. Yeah, even outside Canada, they also ask that. But basically, it's just gonna be based off of your last year's tax return assessment. So your notice of assessment here in Canada, they base it on that. So it was fairly easy. Everything's super smooth. That's what I like about the programs here. It's not really, you know, like in the Philippines, what I can compare is if you apply for a program like for SSS, maternity leave, you are really entitled for it. But I did not get it on time. I had to like, you know, beg people to process my paper. It took a couple of months, even a year to fix those stuff. But here in Canada, you know, they really have a timeline that they process. And I did an insurance claim yesterday. I have an insurance and then I get reimbursed for a specific portion that I used for it. I processed it yesterday. It was approved today, and it's going to be sent to my bank and be available in about 2 to 3 business days. So it is really fast. Yeah. So that's it. That's information I can give to you about childcare benefit, childcare allowance here in Canada, because those are the two that I have experienced, and I'm very thankful to the Canadian government, because even though we are not permanent residents here and not Canadian citizens, we get that help from the government. Yes, and I think of course that's a very good thing, because we are part of the economy. I mean, we help out the economy, we do our jobs, we pay a lot, especially for international students. So it's very kind of the Canadian government to be able to offer this support and assistance to us, which makes us, you know, which makes us want to contribute more to the economy, because there's something that we get from it, and we feel like we are part of this country, right? Because in other countries, like if you are a foreigner, there's really not much contribution to the country, not really much something that a government can give back to you. So this is why Canada is really a good place to live, especially if you have a family, because the Canadian government really cares about your children, and they want to make sure that you have support. So there's really lots of support here. You just have to know their resources, and you'll be good to go. So there, and there's also there's also the child care benefit. Yeah, and this child care benefit is really different. Is different from the allowance given to the children. This one is like a child care subsidy program. So as you know here, childcare costs are really high, so the government tries to subsidize that. So they pay a portion of that. So if I'm not mistaken, because my auntie is here as well, I've asked her about it. I've done my research as well. So for example, the full-time costs here is 1,200. The government subsidizes that. So depending on your income as well, they give you a child care benefit, child care subsidy. So I think it would depend as well on your income, like what I've mentioned. So it can be you're given subsidy 500 every month. So instead of paying $1,200 in full for a month, the government pays for the 500, so you only have to pay out of pocket 700. So something like that. So there's really lots of support here that Canada can give you, so that you can live your life well here, especially with children, which is I like about, because they really care about the future of our children, and they try to assist you as much as they can. So right now we are not requiring childcare services anymore, because my husband and I found a way to make our schedules work. So fortunately, his work is his company that he is working for at the moment has work hours 24/7. So he has actually requested or arranged with his supervisor to be in the night shift. So that's how we make it work. Actually, I'm working and studying in the morning, and then his work is at night. So it's a, you know, yeah, it's shifting schedule for us together with the kids. So I think that's one way that you can work it out as well. Although at the first few months, definitely you just gotta do what you gotta do with the job that you have, and then maybe try to adjust a little bit after that. And I also make sure that I choose my classes together in the, you know, shortest time possible. That's what I did with my classes, because you have the liberty to choose the dates and the time that you are going to take, but that would depend on the program availability and the course availability. So you just have to check and see what works for you. Try it out. You know, there are also part-time jobs. So jobs here are also quite flexible depending on the nature of your work. But there's, you know, companies are really required to accommodate you, especially For example, if you don't have childcare, let's say this is the only availability, let's say this is the only time that you are able to work because you're caring for your children or caring for a family member. So most companies here, and I guess that's also part of the human resources, companies should be able to accommodate their employees to the best that they can until the point of true hardship. So, for those that are from outside Canada, if you still want to get information about this, you may search the government websites, and you may also get in touch with me, and you can also get in touch with me if you have any questions. Drop them down here or connect with me on my Facebook pages, All About Agatha and All About Canada. And please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, share my videos, like, and engage with me. That's it for now. Have a great day. Bye.